What's going on, everyone? My name is Nicholas Merton here at Data Dash, and today is June 5th of 2020. Well, folks, I hope you all are having a fantastic day wherever you are, and in today's video, I want to spend some time to talk about the key elements you want to look for throughout the market in order to be confident of something like an altcoin cycle actually happening. I always try to keep a non-biased approach when I analyze anything in the market, but at the same time, over the years, I've learned not only certain techniques and methods that I would utilize to determine either a bullish future ahead or a bearish future ahead, but also just to understand the key signs from previous cycles on what we should look for this time around. Okay, so we've got a lot of things to discuss right after our quick sponsor. Our sponsor for today's episode is Bitpanda Pro. If you're on the hunt for a proven, trustworthy exchange in Europe to trade your crypto, then I recommend taking a look at Bitpanda. If you're just getting started, many people refer to Bitpanda as the European Coinbase, so it can be a great place to start in getting your first crypto positions. With over 5 years of experience serving the industry by offering easy and secure access to digital currencies, Bitpanda has really earned its reputation. Check out the link down below in the description for more information. Alright, everyone, so let's go ahead and dive into cryptocurrency markets to start. As you can see here, not only are some of the top plays doing well around 2%, but we see the vast majority of cryptocurrencies are in the green at the moment with very few players in the red. Some of the top 10 plays being REN, for example, as well as Basic Attention Token. They're up in some of the top charts here for performance. And outside of that as well, we've got protocols like Cosmos, as well as Synthetics Network and Komodo doing well, all of which are projects that I'm either interested in or keeping an eye on. But there are a lot of different projects here doing well. And I want to go ahead and just jump straight into the main topic for today, guys, because it is going to be the centerpiece for today. So talking about an altcoin cycle, we've dove into this topic for a while. In fact, back here since September, when we got the first actual month that went against this trend here for a consistent six-month downtrend in altcoin dominance, this is where we started to really get eager about altcoins, and I started to build out a lot of my altcoin positions. And so far, it's paid off pretty well, not to mention as not only altcoin dominance has been growing in general, but a lot of our key plays have, in many cases, doubled or tripled their valuation against Bitcoin. So this has been really good over the last couple of months, and really over the last year. Can't believe it. It's almost been a year here in just a few months. But sticking to the topic here, I wanted to dive into a few things that are making me confident as to why we're possibly stepping into the beginning phases of the altcoin cycle, or we're getting set up to basically go through those beginning stages. So there's a few different things. The first one here that I actually forgot to mention yesterday, I did a video that was titled One Major Indicator is Signaling Basically a Large Move in Cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin. And that indicator is an aggregate indicator we got created by one of our community members, Sundeep, who's a good friend of mine. He took his time out of a few couple of days and stuff and actually really built this together. And it's an aggregate indicator of three of our favorite indicators, which are the squeeze momentum indicator, the MACD, and the stochastic RSI. Now, the reason I wanted to explain this and stuff is not only do we have over like 1,000 people using it on TradingView, which is pretty exciting for something that just came out just a couple of months ago, but along with that as well, this is an aggregate indicator of a lot of key indicators that people use. It's one of the most popular ones. The squeeze momentum indicator is one of the most popular used community indicators on TradingView. But it also has things like the MACD and this basically the stochastic RSI, all of which are very popular. And what I wanted to share that I forgot to share yesterday is just how good the SMS indicator on the monthly predicted the previous rally. Now, again, I don't want to be too cocky on it, guys. We didn't build it around, predicting this and stuff. We actually had it mainly focused on Bitcoin and a few other assets like gold. But interestingly enough to see here, it actually was an indicator that predicted the month before. Like if you basically went long after the 3 points closed for the first month, which was here in January, that would mean that you would take an open position in February. And after that, altcoins went on a huge rally. So it's very interesting to see here how the indicator's playing out. And interestingly enough as well, the similarities we're seeing here. Multiple months where we started to have higher lows, similar to what we're seeing right now, building in through a technical pattern and also flashing here on the SMS indicator. And again, just looking at the price itself and just even putting away the SMS indicator right now, this looks really good to me. Even if I take a look on the logarithmic chart, it showcases, yes, we're going to have decaying returns. We're not going to have this kind of run up like we had last time because there's just not that much room for market dominance to grow as there was from going from around 4% all the way up to a peak here of around 64%. All right, we're working from a low here of 27 and we're currently around 34%. So we've got a ways to go, but it's probably going to be, even though we might break up above 64% to set a new high, that it's going to be some time before we really not only see the peak of that next cycle, but that the returns, right, if you're going from 24%, is probably not going to be as ecstatic, right? So we'll see a few multiples on altcoins, but not to the degree of what we saw last time. So again, keeping that in mind, the technical patterns are building up here. We've got, in this case, excluding kind of a lot of the fake volume in the crypto space, we've got a decent amount of liquidity for some of the altcoin space and some of the key players. But I also wanted to talk about some of the macro data points that you want to look for. And it's surprisingly simple. There's a few key things that I look for. I don't try to overcomplicate things, guys. You know this if you've been following me for a long time. There's no need to overcomplicate it. There's no magical indicators that are going to tell you exactly what's going to happen. There's a lot of key, simple, kind of street smart things you can look for that will tell you when you're entering into the next cycle. So what are those signs? Well, you not only want to see on a technical stance that dominance in this case for altcoins. This is, again, the Bitcoin dominance chart flipped. Basically, we're getting altcoin dominance here, so 34% at the current moment. You not only want to see a major pullback here in order to set up for the next cycle, which we have. You want to see a wide range of altcoins of 80, 90% correction, similar to what we saw with Ethereum and many other cryptocurrencies alike that lead the altcoin industry. But you want to see the signs, the macro signs that we're entering into a new cycle of interest, of not only investor interest, but also a sense of FOMO. A lot of new innovation is coming to the space here in regards to cryptocurrencies. This is an interesting, I think, comparison that I think no one's ever really looked at here because people don't really utilize this feature. Just to kind of put things in perspective, the internet itself is a massive database that you can tap into, and you can take a step back through the timeline to really see what's been going on. And we, for example, here while looking up Ethereum on the news section of Google, I set up a date structure here of August 1st, 2016 to February 1st of 2017. The reason I picked that is it's a general range here between before we got to the altcoin cycle. So we're looking a few months ahead, right? A few months ahead in the kind of news storm of what was being talked about before we actually got the kickoff, right? And interestingly enough, you see a lot of things that almost feel like it could have been news a couple of weeks ago. JP Morgan Chase is building a blockchain on Ethereum. Along with that, talking about forks, right? There was a split, hacks in the cryptocurrency space as well. And then also a lot of things, again, sticking to this point here of mostly companies like Microsoft or RBS, financial institutions, coming in and exploring with blockchain. We're seeing all of the same exact stuff right now, more than we have over the last year and a half. People are starting to really explore actual adoption of enterprise blockchain as things like Baseline have come to the forefront and a lot of other innovations throughout the space as more and more projects fix a lot of the key issues that were prevalent back in 2017. And along with this as well, outside of just the news, we can look through very simple things like Google Trends. Take a look here. If we take a look at the longest time period from 2004 to the present for searches of Ethereum, of course, I know Ethereum was not around back then. It's best to get this, though, so you have the most accurate wide range of not so much price information, but search data here. We can see the kind of parabolic initial cycle for Ethereum in the summer of 2017, then the secondary wave here in December. And as we've been seeing, we've been basically flatlining to a degree, but now we've started to cusp up here. We've started to head up higher lows, and we're looking like we might be peaking up back to our July 2019 highs and starting to break up for the next cycle. This is exactly what I want to see. If you imagine this as a price chart, this is usually what you want to see for potential recovery. And we're seeing it in a lot of the altcoins. There's a direct similarity between the actual price of these assets in regards to the news that's going on and also the searches that come on the trend search, right? Take a look at altcoins here, right? Altcoins really didn't get their bolster like Ethereum did in June and July of 2017. They got it going into December of 2017 and held off in January of 2018 as well. Flatlining after that down all the way to 21 compared to 81, or excuse me, towards 96. So a huge drop in trends, the searches for trends here. And we can see here that we went all the way down to 1 point compared to the previous higher. So it was one of the lowest points back since the previous base point we had back here in 2016. And now we've started to tick up around 7-8 points. So this is really interesting stuff. Again, you can start to see the trend formulation coming in here. We're not, going all out, trying to be too heavy on the analytics. It's quite simple. It shows us here that on the trends, things are picking up again. And where did we see this last? We saw it back here as we were stepping into the early part of 2017, where Bitcoin got back above in 2016, more specifically. in 2016 and 2017, we had Bitcoin revisit back to the highs. And after we revisited back to the highs, that was the first initial kickoff for XRP, Litecoin, Ethereum, Monero, all these different cryptocurrencies that were around at the time. So again, very, very important stuff to keep in mind. And one thing I wanted to talk about here is the actual fundamental improvements in the space, guys. This is not just all noise. It's not the only thing we have to look forward to, right? I think the market aspect is fun, right? It's fun to see your investments grow. But at the same time, what I really care about in this space is if we're actually progressing forward and building innovative technology for the space. And there's a lot of big structural changes that are coming to large altcoin networks like Ethereum. One of them is EIP 1559. Okay, now this is probably a good ways away. We don't know exactly when this is going to actually push through, but it's one of many awesome innovations that are being pushed through for scaling, for privacy, for all types of improvements for Ethereum, predominantly in this case scaling. And it's basically a restructuring on the fee model. So they're going to be adjusting. Right now, one of the biggest issues is there's a lot of great applications, including ours in this case, that are utilizing the Ethereum network for transactions. And everything is being settled on mainnet, which is really awesome. The problem is that the fees are getting really expensive. And this is a big barrier. This was one of the biggest barriers back when, for example, Bitcoin was being adopted. You had to pay $30, $40 fees. And along with that as well, Ethereum was getting pretty ridiculously expensive as well as other public blockchain networks. So now what they're actually going through is they're currently aiming to change the first price auction fee model that they've had for the last few years, which is basically the highest bidder will basically probably get prioritized in a block, as it's basically kind of like an auction. I'm auctioning first space in the next block, right? And they're basically going to be changing this to a new way where the mechanism adjusts to a base network difficulty adjustment, basically picking up what's the difficulty of the network right now, how many transactions are aiming to be fit in a block, and having a much more structured fee structure that'll keep those fees down and keep a negative feedback loop of people trying to overstep one another, which has led to really exorbitant fees over the last few months to the last year. So anyways, really exciting stuff. This is just one of the core protocol updates. There's tons of EIPs that are currently being discussed and possibly are going to be implemented over the next few months to the next year or so. So some things on a fundamental basis that we have to look forward to. But there's also a lot of fundamental developments in the sense of projects that are building scaling solutions, layer 2 solutions for the Ethereum network using things like Plasma. I know MiseGo has been doing that. As well as that, there's a ton of other different projects that I don't have probably the time to name, and we'll probably dive through them as they continue to kind of come up to the surface here and we learn more about them. One other thing as well is that we've also got a lot of crypto apps that actually are finding usage. The Brave browser right now, over 15 million monthly active users. That's a 50% increase from when we last talked about their data set on their user base back, I think it was back in January, February. So in half a year, they've more than increased their user base by over 50%. And they're working continuously to actually get more people engaged outside of the 12.32% that are actually using the token aspect of it. So we still haven't actually seen what that kind of demand is on the token side when people start to opt in to receive ads and also receive the tokens. So they're constantly working on that for their user base, and they're continuously expanding the app. So again, a few of these killer applications and projects are sticking out and they're doing well. So I'm really excited to see these kind of positive changes and a lot of actual applications that are being not only utilizing tokens and the Ethereum blockchain, especially broadly in the DeFi space, but also broadly in the sense of just actually getting real actionable users. So I know I rambled on a little bit today, guys, but I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, drop a like on it. One thing I wanted to share with you all real quick is that I'm actually, as I've probably mentioned before a few times, for those of you who may be interested to learn about it though, or maybe haven't heard me mention it before, I'm going to be speaking at BlockDown 2020, which is a virtual conference that I've attended previously in previous months. And it's a wonderful conference. I'm not only doing the roundtable discussion on DeFi that I'll be actually moderating and kind of leading the conversation on, but outside of that as well, we've also got a really interesting debate between two of my favorite individuals in the DeFi and CeFi space. Got Alex Majenski and also the founder of MakerDAO coming together to discuss the differences between DeFi and CeFi. It's going to be a little bit of an interesting toss-up and conversation. But again, I love both companies. As you can see, I follow both of them. Yeah, it's going to be a really awesome discussion. I think it's going to be too cool it's going to be too cool to miss it. So if you guys can, definitely get your free tickets. And there's also higher level tickets if you want to consider to get access to a few other things. But come meet me there. I'll be there and we can talk a little bit. But anyways, hope you all are having a fantastic day wherever you are. And I'll see you all in the next video. Stay tuned.